Let's take a look at Mason Rudolph's interception against the Carolina Panthers in the Steelers' Week 3 preseason game. We are at the beginning of the second quarter. First play of the second quarter, the Steelers are down 3-0, and they have a 1st and 10 at their own about 38-yard line. So they come out in 11 personnel. Running back, tight end is Washington, and then they've got 2 wide receivers to the right, 1 to the left. The Panthers are showing kind of a cover 4 shell, showing like a 4 deep, 3 underneath at the snap. Let's take a look at the play and then we'll break down what happened. So Rudolph fakes a handoff. They end up having 3 in the pattern, and he throws a crosser that is intercepted. And so what went wrong on this play? What happened? So it seems like the Panthers kind of stayed true to that. They really dropped into a cover 3. So you see how they're showing the 4 deep shell at the snap, and they're going to have this safety rotate down. So it really ends up being what Cody Alexander would call country cover 3. This is a pretty, let's look at the coverage real quick. It's a pretty basic cover 3, right? They're all just dropping to a spot. This doesn't look like there's any complicated match component to it. You know, you've got 3 deep and you've got 4 underneath. Country cover 3. And so what the Steelers are doing with their route combination, they're just having a deep route to clear out here, a deep route to clear out here, and then an over route right here. And Rudolph is just trying to wait for these 2 routes to clear out the defenders and then bring the over the top and hit that behind them. The problem with this is that NFL defenders aren't stupid. Like, the underneath defenders here have nothing to do on this play. There's a very late leak by the running back, so maybe there was some hope that would hold the defender, but this defender is not even, he's got eyes on Rudolph. Rudolph isn't even making any gesture toward the running back. Rudolph is looking down at this crosser. This defender has no work to do, and so he recognizes the route combination and just drops back. This is one of those where, I've talked about a Kyler Murray interception earlier this preseason and mentioned that quarterbacks often assume where defenders are going to be without verifying because you don't have time to do that. And so when you recognize a coverage and you understand what they're doing, a lot of times quarterbacks are just making throws based on their understanding of where people should be. However, when especially you're talking about underneath defenders in a zone coverage, the only way that you can assume that this person's going to stay down is if you have somebody holding them there. If you have an underneath defender that has no reason to stay up in the flat, especially if you're running deep routes all going behind them, they're going to drop. So in this situation, especially if you're just staring down this receiver that you're waiting for on the crosser, this to me is just a really poor play from Rudolph. He stares down the crosser, allows if you watch, he just has the eyes in the backfield and then turns his head and realizes what the route combination is and is like, well, I'm just going to go there. I have no reason to do anything underneath. This 100% from Rudolph needs to be a check down. There's no motivation for any of these defenders to come up. And honestly, I don't really understand or love the play design in this situation against a static coverage, right? Like I said, the way you manipulate these second level defenders is by putting some pressure on them to come up. If they don't have to honor anything up here, getting somebody open in between these 2 levels of the defense is a dangerous game, as we're all found out. And it's just not, I think the reason why I'm frustrated is that this to me is this is why you're here instead of a more physically talented guy like Skylar Thompson. When you're talking about Skylar Thompson, he has way more physical gifts. You're the guy that's been in this offense, that's the veteran here. You're supposed to be the steadying presence. You're not supposed to be making these mistakes. It's like when Russell Wilson started to make mistakes last year. It's like Justin Fields is the physically more talented quarterback. If you are the vet that's making mistakes, what's the point of having you around? You're not the more talented guy. And I think that with Rudolph versus Thompson, when I see a play like this, like Mason Rudolph can't make this mistake. Skylar Thompson might make this mistake. That's why you have Mason Rudolph around. But if Mason Rudolph is going to not determine whether an underneath defender has any responsibility and can just go undercut his crosser, I mean, this is as easy of an interception as anybody's ever going to get. It's a disappointing play from Mason Rudolph here. And now we can watch his eyes from the end zone view. Like, look at him just staring straight down the field. Why would this defender have any reason to think he's doing anything other than throwing this crosser? And as we said, the running back leaked out so late, it's like, he's going to catch this ball right at the line of scrimmage. Even if Rudolph would dump it off, there's no reason for the corner to come cheat up. If Rudolph, I know a lot of times we think about looking people off as looking off safeties, right? There's no need to look off any safety here, right? Like, when the crosser's coming, these guys are all gone. The guys who you have to worry about are these underneath guys. He would do better to look off people by looking down here to cause these guys to come up so he can actually create an opening for his receiver to come open. But if you look at Rudolph's eyes just looking down the field, throwing it, no idea that, of course, they are going to be seeing the same thing that the rest of us are, that there's no reason to come up the field. Let's see if I can go undercut this crosser. That's exactly what he did. I mean, I just expect better from somebody like Rudolph. I mean, if you're not going to be able to avoid those kinds of dumb mistakes, like what are you on the team for as a backup anyway? Well, there it is, the breakdown of the Rudolph interception against the Panthers.